A very good evening. Welcome to the Uganda Catholic Television. It's a Friday edition of Uctv News. I'm Sunday Gloria Abosh. To start off with, Catholics that have been called upon to learn to pray through the intercession of Mother Mary for God to increase the graces of the Holy Spirit upon their lives. The call has been made by the Apostolic Nuncio Emeritus, Archbishop Augustine Kasuja, at the Feast of Our Lady of Good Counsel in Gayaza today. He added that it is through prayer that we can properly be transformed.
What is the upper room? It is not that gallery there. It's not the upper room they speak about. You are up also. The upper room is that room in which Jesus had celebrated the Last Supper, the Eucharist, and instituted the sacrament of holy orders, the sacrament of the priesthood, giving power to the apostles and their successors to celebrate the Eucharist by consecrating bread and wine to become his body and blood. It is in the upper room that Jesus washed the feet of his disciples and invited them to do the same to one another as a sign of mutual love or charity and humility. It is also in that same room that the risen Christ appeared to the disciples on the day of the resurrection and gave power to the apostles to forgive sins, and thus instituted the sacrament of penance and reconciliation, the sacrament of confession. You see, many things were done in the upper room. With that sacrament, the sins, telling the apostles that the sins you will forgive will be forgiven. Those you retain will not be forgiven either. In other words, the upper room would correspond today to a church or a chapel where the Eucharist and other sacraments are normally celebrated. It is in that place, the upper room, that the disciples, after the ascension of Jesus into heaven, united in prayer together with Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary, the mother of good counsel and the mother of the church, and awaited the promised Holy Spirit to come down and teach them, guide them, and strengthen them. The Holy Spirit came down upon them on Pentecost Day.
The Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee Central, PACC, has hit another setback after the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Monk, directed them to halt the site visit to Lobowa Specialized Hospital. The committee was scheduled to visit the site today after several postponements on the requests of the contractor to procure personal protection gears for the committee members. Now addressing journalists at Parliament, the chairperson of PACC, Mwanga Kivumbi, said it is unfortunate for a contractor of a huge project of the Lobowa Specialized Hospital to use the excuse of not having sufficient PPGs like reflectors, gumboots and head helmets to block members of Parliament from conducting their oversight role, crippling the works of the committee.
Kenneth Akili for Dr. Twine. Clerk to Parliament, oversight visit to Lobowa Hospital by the Public Accounts Committee. The Ministry of Health has received a letter from the chairperson, the other one I've read, of the Public Accounts Committee regarding an intended oversight visit to Lobowa Hospital on April 26, 24, a copy of which is attached. So he attached to the clerk a copy of the letter I wrote. Herewith, for your ease of reference. The delegation accompanying this visit comprises of over 50 members of parliament and staff, including members of the press, whose exact number is yet to be determined by the visiting team. Given the substantial size of the delegation, the developer has expressed the need for additional time to procure the necessary the necessary personal protective equipment, PPE, to ensure the safety of all the visitors during the visit. Consequently, an alternative date for the visit will be communicated in the due course. We kindly request that honorable members of the parliament to defer the visit until a new date is communicated. Okay? Until a new date is communicated. We assure you that we are diligently working to ensure that all necessary arrangements for the site safety are put in place promptly ahead of oversight visit. Reference. Now, this letter was to the clerk. The clerk referred it to the speaker. Okay? And the speaker wrote a comment on it. Kindly defer the visit to Lubowa. Okay? This is the signature of the Speaker of Parliament, telling the committee to defer the visit to Lubowa, and they sent me this letter. And I've been having it for the last 2 days. Now, first of all, now you know the story. And I don't need to draw my own conclusions. Mine is to account to you the processes we are undertaking to ensure a value for money audit. And that's now what it is. At the leadership of the committee, with an order from the Speaker, I think our view was that we defer the committee, but that's the excuse. But my submission to this effect is that we are still going to do, in my language they say, omulimba, omuwerekera, mpaka wasula. Okay? That is a Luganda proverb. If one tells you, so our home, we have a flat, there's even a swimming pool, I'm even sleeping in water, you don't give a damn. You just slowly by slowly. So we will not be deterred by these actions, by these tactics of delay. I'm yet going to communicate another date where they will have and this is a project, a multi-billion project, that are finding it hard to provide safety protective gear for a committee of, because the number of 50 is the size of the committee. The Public Account Committee has 50 members of parliament. The press of you, okay? You are how many? You are another 20. Okay? And my staff, I have fairly big staff, support staff in the committee. They're about 10, 15. Is that too big to go even to Owino, to buy those other reflectors, to buy that plastic helmet, and to buy gumboots? Because they are not going to buy anything. They are gumboots. Even if today you are running a size of Ruba with so many billions, within an hour, you would have procured all those other things. But if one gives them as an excuse and says he requires a further date, you say, okay, fine. Time, you catch up with it.
And away from the local scene, it is time now for our international news roundup.
Togo will head to the polls Monday in legislative elections that follow a series of government crackdowns on opposition protests and the passing of a controversial new constitution that could allow the president to stay in power indefinitely. President Faure Gnassingbé's family has been running the West African country for 6 decades, making it one of the longest ruling families in Africa. Gnassingbé took power in 2005 after his father's death. Now Gnassingbé's party, with the majority in parliament, has passed a constitution which Gnassingbé himself is yet to sign off on, which would have parliament choose the president instead of a direct vote by people. This has been criticized by civil society organizations and opposition supporters as anti-democratic, as it would allow Gnassingbé to essentially stay in power indefinitely. Heading into the election, opposition protests are banned, foreign reporters forbidden from covering the election, and the Catholic.
Well, good evening, everyone. China is the top supplier of machine tools, microelectronics, nitrocellulose, which is critical to making munitions and rocket propellants, and other dual-use items that Moscow is using to ramp up its defense industrial base. A defense industrial base that is churning out rockets, drones, tanks, and other weapons that President Putin is using to invade a sovereign country, to demolish its power grid and other civilian infrastructure, to kill innocent children, women, and men. Russia would struggle to sustain its assault on Ukraine without China's support. We also discussed a range of regional and global crises where China can play a constructive role. I encourage China to use its influence to discourage Iran and its proxies from expanding the conflict in the Middle East, and to press Pyongyang to end its dangerous behavior and engage in dialogue. On the last question, no, TikTok did not come up, so I can answer that one.
Welcome back from the International News Roundup. It is time now for Today in History. We do appreciate your company. Uctv News takes a break, and when we return, we will be watching the bomb reports.
Uctv, good news for all.
Catch incredible stories of resilience, success.
You can manage that money.
With a topping of inspiration.
Get interested in people, not interested in yourself.
Inspire, achieve, repeat.
You are watching Uctv, good news for all. For this and more, tune in to Kasese Get Radio 100.5 in Western Region, located at the hill of the Diocese of Kasese. KGR brings you all Catholic programs and an advertising platform in all our radio shows like Good Morning Renzori, Chama Towoka, Ukute, the business show, Propeller, the request show and sports, Evaluation, Bahinga Bakuluka, Late Night Show, and many others. Our other services include Isuzu Tipa, a Noah car, public address system, live band, Omokekera, an audio recording studio, and outside live broadcast. For more information, call 0773-597-166 or visit our website www.kasesegatradio.com. Kasese Radio, Omusondoria, the voice of truth. Uctv, good news for all.
And finally, in our Uganda Matters segment, today we are going to bring you a story of Saint Noah Mawagali.
Saint Noah Mawagali. Mawagali was a Muganda of the Bushback clan. His father was Musazi and his mother Meme. He was born at Nkazibukulu in Singo County about 1851. There were 9 children in the family, but at the time of his death, only 2 were surviving. He and his sister, Munaku. When he grew up, he took up the service of Mukwenda. He soon learned new styles of pottery for the improvement of his work. He copied some Arab and European styles. For example, cups, plates, teapots, among others. And due to his skills in pottery, trustworthiness, proper arrangement and cooperation, he was popular. He also used to tan hides. Despite all that, Mawagali remained poor, just at the verge of survival. But when he became a Christian, he put all his confidence and trust in God. Mawagali was baptized on Sunday, 1st of November, 1885. He was a great friend of Matthias Mulumba, with whom he worked in giving Catholic instructions. After the death of his father, Musazi, Mawagali took his aged mother, Meme, and his only sister, Mary Matilda Munaku, to live together with him. When the Christian persecution broke out, our mater was at Mitiana in Singo County very early on Monday morning at about 7 a.m., 31st of May, 1886. Noah was speared to death for his religion by the executioner Kamanyi, led by Mbugano. He was afterwards tied to a fig tree where dogs beat him up, and finally his body was thrown into the road junction to frighten the Christians. Saint Noah Mawagali is the patron of the poor, of the technicians, and the artists.
And with that, thank you so much for being a part of this Friday edition of UCTV News. I am Sunday Gloria Aboch. Good evening and good night.